Alright, here we go. So we're playing some Melfi Sprites with the Bestials in here, and this deck is insane. Now I opened a bricky ass hand, but I got one of two plays. I could either normal out Swap Frog, send Ronin Tonin and my turn ends, or I can normal out Hyperia and Heart of the cards. If I draw into any Sprite monster, pretty much full combo. If I draw into a Deep Sea Diva, which I run at 3, Nimble Beaver, I run at 3, Nimble Angler, I run at 2, or pretty much another copy of Swap Frog or Ronin Totem, I could basically special summon Swap Frog. So, let's take that risk and see what happens. So I normal out Hyperia, and then I draw into Jet, which is perfect. Activate Jet, and then my opponent's going to activate an Ash Blossom. Of course, I have the Call by the Grave, but even if I didn't have Call by the Grave, I already have 2 level 2s on the field, which means that I could just go into Nimble Angler and still pop off. But I just go ahead and Call by the Grave that. I'm going to activate Starter. Starter is going to search Blue. Blue is going to search Carrot, and then I'm just going to activate Carrot. Now, the reason I wanted Carrot on the field is so that way, in case he has infinite impermanence, it would prevent him from being able to stop my Sprint from sending a monster, right? So I want to be able to avoid that targeting and have a negate. So that's why I would go ahead and get Carrot. Activate Spright Sprint. It's going to send Angler. Angler is going to bring out 2 copies of Nimble Beaver. And then I go into Gigantic Spright right here. Gigantic Spright is going to search out Nightmare Corruptor Ibly. I'm going to link that off into a Spright Elf. That activates Spright Ibly in the graveyard and summons onto my opponent's side of the field. Now he can only link summon. And then I'm going to go into Melfi of the Forest. Activate Melfi of the Forest. And I don't know if y'all saw that, but basically I played around Imperm all the way. The only card he could have possibly Imperms me on throughout this entire combo pretty much was the Hyperia at the beginning, which he used Ash Blossom on, and then the Spright Blue. Everything since then, no ability to Imperm. And because I gave him Nightmare Corruptor Ibly, he can't actually use Imperm now, so it's a dead card. So he has to get this off the field to be able to use it from his hand. So hopefully y'all caught that. So just showing y'all some big brain plays. Activate Spright Elf right here. I'm going to revive the Carrot just long enough to be able to link it off into an IP Masquerena. And then I am going to pretty much end my turn. Now during the end phase, Melfi Caddy can special summon itself onto the field. And let's look at what I got. So I could either bring back Spright Carrot for a negate, or I could bring back Hyperia to draw a card, or just pretty much any of the 2 sprites or whatever, the other 2 sprites, Jet or Blue, to basically set up for the next turn for follow-up or whatever the case may be. I don't feel like I need to do that because I think he can't really break this board. Because let's look at what's on the field. So for one, he's evilly locked. So for him to special summon, he has to link first, right? So the evilly lock prevents him from being able to really just pop off. I got an IP Masquerena, which means I can link summon on my opponent's turn. Best monster for me to go into is Crusader Avermax. Of course, if he links off Ibly, then he'd be able to pop off. But if not, I mean, then he's going to have to try to figure out how to deal with Crusader Avermax and try to make link plays, which he might not have a link deck, you know. So it's going to force him to have to make plays and burn through his normal summon because this is on the field, just to clear off Avermax in the first place anyways. So that's the best part about that, right? Then we also got Caddy, which Caddy can get us to a Herald of Arclight, which will basically mean that any monster sent from the hand or deck will be to the graveyard will be banished instead. So there's a lot going on, and I also have the 2 Bestials. So I'm just going to Spright Elf right here because I see that he's going to set a spell or trap. So then that way I can get carried on the field, so I can just negate this whenever he does activate. And then I just go ahead and activate my IP Masquerena to go into Crusade Avermax. He then activates his toy vendor. Now, I'm not worried about this toy vendor because look, it says right here, once per turn you can discard one card, draw one card, then show it, and if it's a Fluffle monster, you can special summon one other monster from your hand, otherwise discard the card you drew. Now, him activating this doesn't bother me because he is still under the Nightmare Corruptor Iblis lock. So he can't actually special summon whatever he draws. But I do wait for him to actually activate it so then that way he can discard. I could have activated this carrot to negate it earlier, but I chose not to because I wanted to wait until he discarded a card so then that way he loses some form of advantage. Not necessarily that I'm worried about the card because he can't special summon anything anyways. So I'm not worried about that. But I did want him to lose some advantage out of his hand. So then he activates the Edge Imp Chain right here. And also he activates his toy vendor. So I then activate the Magnamut. Magnamut will allow me to, during my end phase, grab a Bestial. And then I just go into Herald of Arclight right here. Now this is where it gets interesting. He's going to add an Edge Imp monster and then a Fright or a polymerization off of his Fright for Patrick right here. He adds Cerberus. And then look at this. You could target one toy vendor in your graveyard, set it, and if you do, send one Fluffle monster or one Edge Imp Cerberus from your deck to the graveyard. And would you look at that? Did you see that? Look where it went. So he sent a Fluffle Wings. Now, if this card is in your graveyard, which does not matter anyways, he was trying to get some form of advantage. But look at that. My Herald of Arclight putting in work. He got banished instead of going to the graveyard, my boy. And then my opponent just pretty much scoops it up. Now, I know y'all always ask about my deck list. Let's go look at my deck. Now, as y'all can see, I haven't played a lot of matches, but this season is kind of trash for me. I'm not gonna lie. But here's the deck list. So, I know a lot of people have been saying like, oh, they nerfed Starter, it's only at 2. They nerfed Blue, it's only at 2. They nerfed Jet, it's only at 2. Well, just add 3 copies of Deep Sea Diva. 1 for the Starter, 1 for the Blue, and 1 for the Jet, right? This is a 1-card starter, just like Nimble Beaver is a 1-card starter. Basically, with either of these 2 cards, you don't really need anything else because they can get your combos going. Use normal Deep Sea Diva, it brings out another Deep Sea Diva, and then you just pop off. Or same thing with Beaver. Normal Beaver, but instead of bringing out another Beaver, you bring out Angler. Full combo every single time. So, very simple. So hopefully y'all enjoyed this video. Catch y'all on the next one. Peace.